Well, here I was getting ready to lay the what I was anticipating was going to be the final smackdown on you, because as I've already explained, you're pretty much irrelevant. But your desperation of you just keep trying to distort and twist and obfuscate and just tell outlandish lies. You're almost a grand master at this. I am impressed. The average person would have learned to stop a long time ago. And know not to come up against somebody who's got facts, truth, and evidence on their side. But I don't know. You're just there's something about your psyche that, well, of course there is something about your psyche, as I've explained before, which, because of your latest upload, I'm going to have to explain again. But, that's fine. Not a problem. As I've stated before, you just can't help yourself. There's no amount of facts, evidence, logic, anything that's going to fall and keep slamming you upside your face that you're ever going to acknowledge without trying to twist it and rework it and try to shape shift it and whatever in order to make yourself look like you're... Oh, by the way, this latest thing that you decided to come out with, thank you for finally deciding to not be a coward and actually express yourself on your own channel for a change, your actual flagship channel, instead of using some obnoxious insult channel to go ahead and spread. Like I said, I'll get into that a little bit later. But first of all, before I go into anything else, I do want to make a correction. Now, as I've stated on numerous occasions, if I'm guilty of spreading misinformation, I always want to be corrected on it. Whether that's somebody else correcting me, or whether I have to do backtracking and find out where my error was, and I have to self-correct. In this case, it's the latter. But still, I spread misinformation. I regret the error. I just want to make amends, and I want the truth to finally be let out there so that everybody knows that I'm not trying to spread any sorts of lies or anything of that sort. I want the truth to get out there, and here's the truth. The last upload that I had made, I had reminded you that your numbers are nothing to brag about. For all of your talk about my rapidly dwindling numbers of people who ever bother to watch anything or listen to anything of mine, or who are not interested, it went from 5 people, then it went down to 3 or 2 people. And I explained that I had twice as many subscribers as you had on your channel, and both of our channels were replacement channels, and they were established at roughly around the same time. But I said also, by stark comparison, the panties that you keep sniffing up into, I say this with herpes, her numbers, I stated, were over 3 times the number of your subscription numbers. And so I had accidentally and erroneously given myself a lower position as far as my subscription numbers than with her numbers. Whereas if my brain cells weren't just frying so rapidly because of having to just come up with against you so often, that I would have recalled that only several uploads ago that I had laid the smack down on her, showing I'm not the one who's irrelevant here. Because as I had stated, at the time that I had highlighted those numbers, which was the 9th of April, she had surpassed my subscription numbers by only a number of 5. And at that time, I also made the statement that her numbers were more than 3 times your numbers. And so, given the fact that my numbers were only 5 fewer than her numbers, that would also mean that my numbers were not twice the number, as I said in the previous upload, but were more than 3 times your number. And here's a little bit of an update. Since I'm so irrelevant and nobody's paying any attention to me, since all this talk about numbers and subscriptions and viewerships and all this other mess, April 25th, which is today, I have surpassed her numbers. So now, instead of her having 5 more subscribers than myself, I have 1 more subscriber than she does, which means I have now surpassed her numbers. And of course, let's not go into Kernel of Wisdom's numbers. She shocked the hell out of both of us. And remember, I'm the one who tapped her to come in and to get started on this thing, and she's managed to surpass my numbers with easy effort. So I think that she has more of a voice out there than even I do. She sure gets a hell of a lot more attention. She sure gets a hell of a lot more praise. That's what I said. I rub people the wrong way. We share pretty much the same bit of information, but she's more palatable, and she's a female. And of course, typically, females tend to get a little bit more credibility when their issue is discussing the faults and shortcomings of other females, which are not meant to slam, which are not meant to troll for cyber dick, which are not meant to get male validation or anything, but just to say, hey, we girls have a problem. Here's where we need to fix. Here's where we need to work on, and especially when it's a black woman who does it. She's going to catch all kinds of hatred from her sisterhood. But see, the black men who actually do care about black love, black families, black unity, black harmony, or at least black image, and especially the image of the black women, sure, they're going to gravitate toward her. Sure, they're going to embrace her. Sure, they're going to say, hey, right on, sister, we got your back. And oh, on top of that, you're a cutie. And noticing that now that you decided to not hide away and shy away like a coward and actually come out with something to try to diss us and try to twist and distort on your main channel now. And you took the bait again. Because you had made it so that you were going to keep hiding away in the shadows until General kept calling you out and saying about how fugly you were and how bloated and everything. And so you come out on your channel page, dolling yourself up, trying to cover all these flaws and all these mistakes with all that makeup. And see, here's the thing, that for all the guys that come around and talk about how cute or how attractive they say Kernel of Wisdom is, the only makeup this woman wears occasionally is lipstick. And she gets all kinds of positive feedback from black men. And yet here you are going to the extreme, dolling yourself up, and there's still nobody coming to your aid saying, oh, I think you're hot, I think you're cute, or I think you're attractive. Especially now that you've shown pretty much what you look like down below the neck. Trust me, dear, only what do they call those guys, the ones who have these fat fetishes? I think those are the only guys that would actually come and try to schmooze up to you at this point. I would have never shown myself below the neck if my body looked like that. Are you kidding me? Anyway, but you're a glutton for punishment, as I've said before, and so one of the easiest ways to get smacked is to just put yourself out there like that. So you look like a walrus, Hippo. I'm talking about your body this time. Your face, well, that's up for debate depending on how anybody else wants to view you. But there's no so-called thing as beauty is in the eye of the beholder, as you said, when it comes to your body shape and mass. There's no getting around that. You can play all that stuff about your hair and your face and your nose and whether you look attractive or not, and with big loopy earrings and all that stuff. Yeah, you can fake the funk there. But when we see below the neck, there's nothing you can do to cover over that except to cover over it. So you just keep stepping yourself and you just keep putting yourself out there, and And it's amazing that you would do that, and all that you ever have to come at with anybody with are just vicious ad hominem attacks and slanderous insults. And you know, I don't get you. Yes, I do get you. I've explained it numerous times already, which goes back to this little latest thing that you did. And I think I want to play back some of your own words, just so we can do like a point for point analysis of just how off base you are, number one, and to continue to expose you as the lying fraud and charlatan and hypocrite that you are. So with that, let me pull up our little thing to do here, and let's just run a little bit, see what we come up with.
I think he has made about roughly 9 videos about me so far. I think last year he made so many of them his channels was getting shut down.
Okay, lie number 1. I didn't make videos about you and then somehow just miraculously and out of the blue, out of strange nowhere, that, oh, the laws of the universe are just so against me that just by mere flukes my videos are getting shut down and my channels are getting shut down. No. Those videos and channels got shut down because you and your cronies were shutting them down. That's how that happened. And notice, your stuff managed to stay up for the most part until you started stepping on many different toes, and then of course people started to figure out where you were coming from and what you were about, and so they kind of figured, well, hey, you know, if you're going to shut our people down, hey, tit for tat. I'm just saying.
And you know, he keeps avoiding the topic that I'm asking him. I'm like, okay, what have I done this year in 2013 for you to feel like you need to talk about me? He has not answered that question.
Lie number 2. Yes, I have answered that question. In every single recent upload that I have done about your lying snarky ass, I have answered that question. I have even shown photo documentation evidence answering that question. You can't keep twisting this thing and spinning it around, trying to make it seem like I'm avoiding you or I'm ducking the issue. You know what you did, you know what you've done, you know what you're continuing to do. All anybody has to do is just listen. They'll understand what you keep pretending that you don't. Let's continue.
You know, I'm so ugly and I can't, you know, attract anybody.
Truth number 1. So yeah, there's a little bit of truth here and there. So I guess I'll point those out when they come up, but you know, they're rare and in between. But on that issue, yes, you are telling the truth, because I don't see anybody running up to you. I don't see anybody making comments on your channel saying, oh, I think you're hot, I think you're sexy, or that I think you're gorgeous, or you go girl, or anything of that sort. Contrast that with your so-called stalker, kernel of wisdom, and look at the feedback that she gets. I don't know. I don't need to say anything more about that. Let's just continue.
So, I mean, most of y'all know how I look. I mean, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Some of y'all might.
Now see, that's the ugly chick cop-out. All fat, ugly, fugly chicks always want to go this route of beauty is in the eye of the beholder. That's just like some washed up, spent and used, some old hag, some so-called cougar or whatever the heck you want to call them. They get this attitude about, well, experience beats beauty, or experience before youth, or anything to focus off the fact that hey, you're old and washed up and used up. Nobody's hunting for you anymore. So they have to do these little things like women are not ornamentation. Gee, isn't it interesting that you never see the sexy, glamorous women or the cute women or anything of that sort? They are never ones who are talking about women's objectification, or that there's too much of an emphasis on beauty. No, it's always these fat, greasy, ugly, sugly, ugly, fugly girls, and these old crotchety ass women who've gone through menopause and their crotches filled with acid now, that there's nobody checking for them. These are the only women who always seem to get upset with this whole beauty standard thing and always try to make an excuse for it. I'm not fat, I'm thick. No, you're fat. You don't need, you don't need to be thin and look like a runway model to be considered beautiful. Yes, you do. Otherwise, all of our motion pictures, all of our magazine models, all of our TV stars would all be looking like you. They don't. There's a reason for it. It's because beauty is not in the eye of the beholder. Beauty actually does, in our Western world, have certain standards that it has to meet in order to qualify for being considered beautiful. Let's not delude ourselves.
No, I think I'm okay, depending on, how I'm looking and how I'm dressing.
Oh, okay, so you think you're okay depending on how you're dressing and how you're looking and whatever. So, if the best that you can get is you think you look okay depending on how you're dressing and how you're presenting yourself, how do you feel about yourself the rest of the time? See, you just proved my own point without even realizing that you stepped in it, dumbass.
Yes. Oh, I think I'm obsessed with him. I think he flipped it, and now he says I'm obsessed with him. He says I'm a lesbian that's obsessed with him. So, if I'm a lesbian and I'm obsessed with him...
Okay, let me explain it to you. Yes, I'm still calling you out as a lesbian. Again, I've had enough experience with the people to know who's who and what's what. Now, that does not mean, as you tried to spin it around, that, oh, because you're a lesbian, you've got the hots for some male dick. That ain't what I'm saying at all. I ain't saying that you're obsessed with me in a sexual way as far as, oh, you want to get with a man despite being a lesbian. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you're obsessed with me in a sexual way because I lay the ass burn on you. And you're a masochist. And you're one of those types whose panties don't get wet and dripping until somebody's abusing you. And rather than just abusing you just for the sake of abusing you, just coming after you and attacking you for no reason at all, you seem to get off and super drenched by the fact that somebody can confront you with your own lies, expose your own lies, throw them back at you, prove how much of a liar and a fraud and a fake and a charlatan that you are. As I said, the average person would have backed off a long time ago with someone of this caliber. You keep coming back for more. There has to be a reason. And I have to figure that it must be sexual in nature. That combination of S&M sort of a relationship where it doesn't do anything for you unless you're getting the ass whipped. And in this case, it's verbal ass whip. And it doesn't matter if it's coming from a man or a woman, just so long as somebody's humiliating you and exposing you and basically deflating you. Because now you have something to run off on and build more lies and spin more spin in order to keep the cycle going. That's the only explanation I can come up with as to why each and every time that somebody comes off with some sort of a disagreement, whether it's you don't do it quite as much as your girl whose panties you keep sniffing up into does it, but there's this obsession with general backlash. Somebody comes in, a comment left by, I don't know, let's make up a name, Pink Curtain, and Pink Curtain says that I don't agree with your viewpoint, here's why I don't agree with your viewpoint, and you're not taking this into consideration. And then automatically Pink Curtain gets labeled, oh, this is just general backlash and another one of his fraudulent phony accounts. Why is it always general backlash? Why is it that my name is always in your throat anytime somebody else comes at you with some little disagreement? How does that work? If you're not obsessed with me, then explain to me how it is that every single body that comes around and challenges y'all is automatically ascribed to general backlash. If you're not so obsessed with me as I've said that you are. So what's the story? I told you what the story was back in my previous upload. The reason that you're so obsessed with me, just like everyone else who has this hate fest against me, are so obsessed with me. And of course I'm talking about you washed up, burnt out, and spent and used and abused black women who haven't taken personal accountability. Y'all are the ones I'm actually talking about. But the reason y'all are so obsessed with me is because I have a black woman on my team who thinks and speaks the same as I do. And you don't know how to handle that. And so, in order to shut down this whole tag team, you always try to come after both of us. Either you try to pick us apart one individually in order to try to affect the other one, to get the other one to get quiet, or you flip it around and try to go after the other one and try to get the other one to go into panic mode or whatever, or you get real desperate and you come after both of us at the same time. But if you ever notice, with this particular little band here, the two names that always keep cropping up are General Backlash and Kernel of Wisdom. So much so that even I didn't anticipate that there would be that much focus on this tag team. I figured, okay, Colonel, you want to come in here? Give me a little bit of a hand. Let's do this thing together. Let's make some waves. And oh, by the way, you're going to get attacked and attacked ruthlessly. Which of course happened. But I had no idea it would explode the way that it has, to where it's mind-boggling. But again, I've explained it before, I'll explain it again. None of you frauds, none of you probably would have given the name General Backlash a heaving sigh of General Backlash. No, everything is General Backlash, General Backlash, General Backlash, General Backlash, General Backass, General Jackass, General Half-Track, General. Why? I'm nobody. Don't you get it? I am nobody in this bitch. Remember, I have only 150 subscribers. That's all. That's nothing. That's who thrives on 150 subscribers? If I were a subscriber hound, I would be so humiliated at having only 150 subscribers. But I'm not a subscriber hound, so it doesn't bother me. But the question remains. Someone who has only 150 subscribers is essentially nobody. So why the obsession with me? It has to do with more than just me. Because even when I get into it with people back in the past, people would say my name in passing and then move on. I would no longer matter to them. I would just be a passing thought. But with you and your other little cabal of your daisy chainers, everything that comes out that's somehow negative or has anything to do with not getting your point across or not getting 100% validation, it's always general backlash. You've always got to run to me. And there are much, 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 much bigger fish and much, 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 much louder fish and much, 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 much more obnoxious fish in this whole so-called black woman bashing that everybody else is easy. They're easy targets. They're big targets. You don't even have to aim to hit them. But you have to have pinpoint accuracy in order to swipe at general backlash. Why? Why the obsession with me? Because when you analyze it, when you break it down, it's obvious it is an obsession. So only you can answer that question as to why. But no, you're not the only one who can answer the question, because I've already answered it and I keep answering it. The reason is because I have a black woman on my team who speaks and thinks pretty much the same as I do. And she's not afraid to do it. And the thing that burns your ass more than a black man coming at you telling you where you need to step up is a black woman coming up to your ass telling you that you need to step up. And you can amplify that and intensify that and enhance it by a factor of 5 times when it's a black woman and a black man partnership who are teaming up to essentially get the same message across. That's why you're obsessed with me. It's because you're obsessed with her. It's not me that's bothering you, that's upsetting you, that's causing you to go into hysterics. It's Kernel of Wisdom. She's the reason. She's the real reason you can't stand me. And I've said it on numerous occasions, and I will continue to say it because it's the truth, and you know it's the truth.
If I'm a lesbian and I want him, then that makes him a bitch. So I heard it. And I'm not going to sit up here and say he's a gay man. No, I do think that he likes women also. I think he likes men, women, and children, and probably animals too.
See what I mean about the ad hominems? See, for everything that I've ever said, I've kept it real. I've kept it above board. I've kept it to where I knew it would hurt you. Because I knew that it was the truth. I didn't have to make crap up. I didn't have to go all overboard like that. But see, as I've said, once you've run out of ammunition, once you realize that the bullets bounced off Superman's chest, all you've got left is the empty gun, which you think is going to hurt him when you throw it at his chest. So you throw these blunt objects at Superman's chest when streamlined, fast, rapidly moving objects didn't do any damage to him. So you think that, okay, last resort, let me just say something really mean, nasty, and awful and evil about him, and that's really going to get his goat. I'm like, no, all you did was you just played your hand, essentially. You showed how just nasty and vile that you are. You didn't do anything to me. You didn't hurt my feelings. But see, what you did, again, just goes to show that you have no credibility. You just buried yourself with that comment, and you don't even know it. Because you have no style, you have no class, you have no decency. Because you don't know how to react when you don't have truth on your side. So you descend to something like this. Good job. Bravo.
He says I'm so ugly. I mean, so y'all can go ahead and witness how hideous I look.
Point taken.
Okay. Okay, so I want you to see me hoping that you fall in love with me, even though I like girls, but I want you, and I get off every time you speak so vile and vulgar towards me. I can't get enough of it.
Truth number two. As I've been explaining all this time, and yes, I know you're being facetious and tongue-in-cheek and all that stuff, but you're essentially telling the truth on yourself. As I've explained on numerous occasions, because only a masochist who has some sort of sexual or some other kind of psychological satisfaction from getting slammed and roasted as often as you do. So I take that as an admission, essentially. So thank you for clarifying that for us. Gee, I don't know. At this point, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to have time to get into my little closing statement now, because originally what I had planned on coming in here for was to shoot down that other lie that you keep spreading around about how I let Thomas Jerome Mugshot just slander my wife, girlfriend, not girlfriend, daughter, sister, cousin, whatever, how, whatever you think she is, whatever the flavor of the day is that you have, that you think of her as, fine. But this whole thing about when she started getting attacked by TJ Mugshot, that I pulled a disappearing act because I was just too much of a coward to go up against a man who was beating up on my friend, calling her a bitch and threatening her and all this other mess. So I had an answer already and prepared for you for that. But as I stated, you threw me this little bit of a curveball here. So as always, because see, I don't let people slander me. I don't let people lie on me. I don't let people make up shit and twist stories around and try to make it look like I'm somehow responsible for this, that, or the other, when in fact all that information is nothing but a bunch of bald-faced, or again in your case, bald-headed lies. I just don't take too kindly to the fact that people want to have issues with me, and in order to make themselves feel more comfortable or to take the heat off of them, you got to twist and distort something about what I said or what I've done or whatever, and I just will not allow that. And at some point I'm going to grow tired of it, but not right now, because as I've said before, the more you keep coming out with it, the more you just keep burying yourself. And it's, as I've said plenty of times, in fact I've said it so often that it's practically a mantra, that if you keep letting somebody talk long enough, eventually they'll tell you what the real deal is. And all you've been doing this far has just been talking. No, yeah, I use more words. Yeah, I take up more time. Yeah, I explain myself in a hell of a lot more detail and I stretch things out, of course. But see, you can say as much about your position on this thing in just 10 minutes and incriminate yourself in that 10 minutes. You have no idea that you're making my job easy for me, because all I have to do is just kick back, say one or two things to get your goat, and then you'll come right out and you'll show everybody exactly who you are and what you're about, and you'll spread some other lie or you'll make some other phony thing up, and then I'll just come back and I'll shoot that down again, which you can't take, you can't handle, and you refuse to back away from that, so you come back up with something else and you'll retwist and you'll go back to a lot of the same things. But with each step that you take, you just keep putting yourself deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into the pit. And it's not my fault, it's your fault. You're the one who has decided that it's better for you to just keep getting the smackdown than to just finally throw up your hands, say, look, I can't deal with this anymore. I don't like being exposed like this anymore. I just want to go ahead and let this thing die out. Okay, I'll take the mock channel down. Okay, I'll leave your name out of my neck. Okay, I'll stop dropping all these comments about you on other people's channels that don't have anything to do with anything. I'm just going to forget about you. But you haven't reached that point yet, so as I've said, anywho, I've got stuff I need to get up here and get out of the way and get done. But rest assured, I'm still going to come back with my little final finish up project, because I want everyone to see and hear how easily a lie can be exposed and how a liar can essentially be annihilated. And I'm so glad you picked up on this Thomas Jerome mugshot for this opportunity. Because maybe next time when General says something about his situation or what's going on in his life or what has affected him to do this, that, or the other, maybe the next time people will actually listen instead of speculating and trying to make shit up as to why or how or who, whatever, or what. So that's coming. But right now, I need to get my butt out of here and go do some things. Stay tuned.